Xbox Sea of Thieves absolutely crushing it on PlayStation 5. And I'm going to say something controversial here, and you're about to get mad at me, you PlayStation fanboys, and maybe some of the Xbox guys here may get mad at me as well. I think this proves that the gap is not as big between Xbox and PlayStation as people would have you believe. Sure, the gap in hardware sales, PlayStation has won the hardware sales, but we're in video games, you want to know what wins money? You want to know what we're talking about when we talk about a video game? We're talking about software. Sea of Thieves is crushing it in pre-orders. Indeed, it's leading pre-orders over on the PlayStation 5 right now. What does that mean? I think that means that, guess what? Xbox has a lot of great games. Guess what? Xbox has games that people want to play. So is there really that huge of a difference between games on the Xbox versus the PlayStation? Does PlayStation really have the cream of the crop in games? I think they've got really good specific type of games. I think that PlayStation has really good single-player AAA games. And they've got a few of them. I think Xbox has really good multiplayer games, and they've got a few of them, and Sea of Thieves is one of them. And you can see here, if the future of the gaming market is all about software, PlayStation has admitted it's getting away from hardware. Xbox has already admitted, as far as strategy is concerned, they're not going to stop making hardware, but as far as strategy is concerned, they're going down more sustainable paths. They're looking for more sustainable paths. The game is changing. We're living through it right now. If software is the key, you can see why PlayStation wanted a Destiny. Look at how well Sea of Thieves has done. It's the number one. Real quick, this is VGC Gaming, Video Games Chronicles. Xbox's Sea of Thieves has topped PlayStation 5 digital pre-order charts. That's right, topped it. This means the game is currently being pre-ordered more times in the US, is on the US charts, and they look at the UK charts. In the US, then MLB The Show 24, that's a powerhouse, Sony Studio powerhouse. Star Wars Battlefront Classic Collection, Dragon's Dogma 2, also a critically acclaimed hype house here. Elden Ring, Shadow of the Erdtree, and Rise of Ronin. It is in the number one slot on the PS5 console store on the US. The UK, they continue. The UK's current top 10 pre-order on the PS5 console store has the premium edition of Sea of Thieves at number one. That's the $70 version. That's in the number one spot. As well as the standard edition at the number 4 and the deluxe edition at number 10. So 3 of the versions in the top 10 with the top edition in the number one spot in the UK. This is huge, and I think this says a lot about where we're at in the gaming space. I think it says a lot about where Xbox is headed, the direction. I think that they're 100% correct. I think that it shows that the landscape of console gaming is changing, and Xbox is on the right path. Now, why does this? Let's go over a few reasons why this proves that Xbox can win on quality. Just a specific type of quality. And in fact, I think they're actually shoring up their single player AAA experiences as well. So I don't think that's going to be an issue long term. But even right now, cross-platform success. So Sea of Thieves achieving best-selling pre-order status on the PS5 shows you that Xbox can not only captivate and dominate the PC and the Xbox crowd, but also that PlayStation audiences want this game. And why? Because it's a ton of fun. There's nothing like it on the PlayStation. It's why Xbox was absolutely correct in doing this. This game, this type of game, fits going over to PlayStation. They don't have anything like it over there, and look at the results. Number one spot in pre-orders. I think that another reason, so number one is cross-platform success. We're having that cross-platform success. I think Sea of Thieves illustrates storytelling in this sandbox way that doesn't exist in any other type of game. I think it's compelling cooperative sandbox gameplay that Xbox owns with a game like Sea of Thieves. I think that Sea of Thieves is broadening its audience reach here. So a game like this appealing to PlayStation gamers. We're going to see long term. If you're a PlayStation gamer, this is just round one. This is like your first introduction into Sea of Thieves. Let's say another game pops out that's like it, or there's another game over on Game Pass. Does this not introduce you to Game Pass? Does this not get you to get Game Pass? I think long term it does. If all of your friends are playing this game and you're on a PlayStation, you're like, I want to play with you guys, why not just go get a Game Pass? Get a Game Pass, especially if you have a PC. Totally worth it if you're doing it that way. Finally, I think that there's some evolving customer preference or consumer preferences. And I think this is why you're seeing companies like Hogwarts said this, like, hey, we want something a little longer term that we can play with. And I know a lot of people gave Hogwarts developers crap about it. In other words, like, hey, Hogwarts had all this success. What do you mean you want to change it? I think what they're saying is, why have a one and done world and game like Hogwarts? Why not keep it ongoing? It doesn't mean that it has to be done poorly, or it doesn't mean that it has to be a money grab or anything like that. Done right, this is something that could be perpetually ongoing. In fact, Hogwarts fits that, in my opinion, really, really well. So I totally see that. I think that's an evolving consumer preference. I know for myself, let's look at books. I love reading. Fantasy is one of my favorite genres. I love reading books where there are 10 or 12 books in the series or more, because I love when I get sucked into the world, I want to stay in that world. I don't want just one book on that world and then I'm out. It's the same with games. When I'm in a world with my friends, I want to be able to play in that world forever. I don't want to leave it. Why not? If I go away from a little bit, like I've done with Sea of Thieves, by the way, guess what? Re-downloaded it because of all this PlayStation stuff. I'm planning on jumping in on March 12th. On March 12th. I can't speak today. I'm planning on jumping back in on March 12th with my friends to rediscover Sea of Thieves. I would not probably be doing that if it was not for all of this in the news, if it was not for all of this in the media, if it was not for this big deal being made about Sea of Thieves at the moment. So I think there's evolving consumer preferences, and I think that evolving consumer preference is, if we don't have to leave this amazing world, excuse me, then why leave it? Why not just stay? Why not make a game and create a game experience that I can play for forever? And Sea of Thieves is the example of that. If you remember, Sea of Thieves has come a long way too. Remember when Sea of Thieves dropped, it was like, it got kind of okay reviews. Then eventually streamers picked it up. I would say a year later, maybe, don't quote me on that time frame. It might be off a little bit, might be too soon, might be too late, but streamers picked it up, and then it became this role-playing streaming phenomenon, and that's when it really took off. And Rare continued to support it, in and out, the ups and downs, to where it is today. And congratulations to Rare and Xbox on all of the success, and for having the most pre-orders over on the PlayStation 5. Again, I can't understate. Maybe I'm overstating it, actually, and you can let me know in the comments. But I think this honestly illustrates, there's two types of companies here. Xbox is a software company. Peter Moore said that over the weekend. PlayStation is a hardware company. PlayStation has done a fantastic job of selling its hardware. This is proof that Xbox can compete on the software level. The fact that if this dropped on PlayStation, it was just okay, it was in the top 10, but it's not number one. The fact it's number one shows that, and it's the $70 version that's number one, shows that people want to play this game, that Xbox has things that people want, and that's why Game Pass is going to be successful long term. Got two questions for you. Before I get into these questions, let me know what you guys think about that, though. I could be wrong. I'm not, but I could be. Let me know in the comments below. What does this milestone tell us about the perceived quality gap between Xbox and PlayStation games? I don't think it's an all or anything. I think PlayStation has made higher quality single-player AAA experiences that people want to play. I think Xbox in the last generation missed out on that. I think Xbox has made better multiplayer experiences, and I think Sea of Thieves is proof positive of that. I think what it does illustrate is that there's something for everyone on Xbox. I think what it does illustrate is that Sea of Thieves is something a lot of people want to play, something a lot of people want to experience who are on PlayStation. I think that's all that it says. I think the quality gap exists. I think multiplayer Xbox has it. I think single player AAA titles PlayStation has. I think that's where the quality gaps exist. I do think that this is a huge light at the end of the tunnel for Xbox. I think it proves their strategy through all the criticism to Phil Spencer and the higher ups at Xbox and Microsoft who made these decisions to go multiplayer. I think this is proof positive that they made the correct decision. And you know what? I think that does us for today. I think I've covered everything that's worth covering here. I think this is good news for Xbox. I think this multi-platform, multi-format is literally paying off. In the words right here, Microsoft's decision to make it multi-format may literally pay off. I think it has literally paid off. When you're at the top, when you're charging through, making changes, doing things that have never been done before necessarily in the console space, you're going to take criticism. Sea of Thieves has worked out. Sea of Thieves is proof positive of this strategy, at least for now. and we'll see where it goes from here. If you like this video, guys, hit that like button, subscribe to this channel. I would love to know what you guys think, though. I could be wrong. Maybe I'm overstating it, but I think this is huge. I think this proves the concept for Xbox, and I think it shows that Game Pass has a very, very bright future ahead of us. Like, subscribe. Let me know in the comments what you think, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.